Up next, it's turning ownership data into blind offer campaigns. This is why you're here. This is the meat of Land Academy 1.0 revamp rural vacant land. I will, from start to finish, do a mail merge before your eyes. I threw in a bunch of slides to make this incredibly simple, and it should leave you with very, very few questions about how to actually get a mailer right in the mail. Join me. Turning ownership data into blind offer campaigns. First, we will use RealQuest to pull the fresh landowner data. I'll show you how I do it. Second, we'll scrub that data down in Excel, right down to who exactly should receive an offer. Third, we'll get that data set and match it up with the actual offer that we send out and submit it to offers and to owners to get it into. And then I will put a special emphasis on pricing. Why? Because this is the number one question that everyone asks. Am I doing my pricing right? I offer consulting on Thursday. I offer a half-hour consulting to kind of review members' mailers if they would like me to do that. And the number one topic is, am I pricing this right? Am I priced too high? Am I priced too low? So I'm going to take some extra time in this chapter to really review how I price. And what's special and new now is that we have the red, green, yellow test and how we price it with your equity planner. Let's take a look. All right, we're going to hit the ground running here. We're going to log into RealQuest Pro. This is after you've chose a county. Like in the last chapter, we chose San Bernardino County, so I figured we'll use this. Am I saying you should go to San Bernardino County and do this? Not at all. It works everywhere. Okay, here we are in RealQuest Pro. Let's log in. Here's a quick note on the RealQuest Pro interface, user interface. This is what it looks like now. Looks like 1985. By the time you see this, I can almost guarantee that it'll look different. They are going through a lot of changes at CoreLogic, and they're not real proud of the fact that they realize their interface is probably 20, 30 years old. It really looks like the original DOS. So please expect something different. If it gets so different, we will re-record or add new tutorials that they're either in the buoy at the bottom right-hand side of your screen on landacademy.com, or that there's a knowledge base in there, and we'll add videos, or they'll be on your dashboard, or check Land Investors for updates. Just please don't completely freak if you see a different interface. The back end of the thing is exactly the same, and the functionality is the same. Step 1, choose custom. Step 2, step 1, next step, let's say, is select a geographic identifier. In this case, it's California, San Bernardino County. Good, we're there. Next step, select search criteria. What I'm about to tell you is one way to do it. There are many, many, many ways. And I've said this before. The more creative you are as you get further into your career, the more successful you will be when you choose a search criteria. We're going to first go to land use. Let's scroll down to land use. We're going to double click on it, and we're going to use the control key to select agricultural, barren, cabin, desert, on and on and on, SFR, and all vacant in general. I can't impress upon you enough. These things change. If you're doing this in Massachusetts, the selection criteria is going to be different than this. This is just one that I use for basic desert property. This is Land Academy 1.0. I know I probably say it 20 times in this chapter. Common sense really, really applies here. And another thing is that RealQuest Pro is a data aggregator. They don't create the data that's in there. They contract with county municipalities, specifically their assessor departments, and they buy their data every single month or sometimes more often. so that they can update their records. Then they take a big, huge funnel and put it into their framework. So there's columns that they've created. Now, all these assessors, 3,400 of them, there's 3,400 counties that submit data to them every month. They're at every different level of IT that you can imagine. Some of them are still handwriting stuff. Some of them, like LA County or Maricopa County, Arizona, or Cook County in Chicago, are incredibly advanced. So imagine trying to aggregate all these different types of data sets into one template. So you have to be patient. Stuff that applies to Maricopa County, Arizona, which is very different for culturally and geographically than the East Coast, may not apply back there. So this takes a lot of time and patience and practice. Let's select land use. Scroll down to land use. Here's all the land uses. The first one up is all agricultural. I'm holding my control key down. Agricultural. I'm going to scroll down a little bit and throw in a few more before we hit enter. Barren land, cabin, and desert, and fallow land. Barren land. Control. All agricultural. Barren land. Control cabin. Desert. Fallow land. Add it. And you can see all of them here. Now we're going to continue down the list. Farms, forest, miscellaneous, and mobile homes. Land use once again. Farms, forest, miscellaneous, and mobile home designations. Farms, forest, miscellaneous, and mobiles. Oh, mixed complex got in there somehow. Let's get it out. Okay, we're out. Did that on purpose. All residential, rural, and SFR, single family residential, rural, and SFR. Let's go to land use again. We're in the R's now, right? Residential, rural, SFR. Residential, SFR, rural, update. All vacant. That's the last part of this. We'll go to land use again. We're going to go all the way down to the V's. Vacant, 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 update. Now you can check this list right here against this list, but it ties. I checked it. I have to say this again. I can't continue to the next section unless I say this again. This is only one way to do it. If you're buying different types of properties, let's say there's you all know by now, if you listen to the show at all, the podcast, there's hundreds of types of real estate and land that you can buy. This is just a first step. You may, in a minute, when we download the data, realize that you don't want any mobile home properties, or you only want mobile home properties in South Dakota. So that's how you do this. That's why this works, because you have so many options to be creative as an investor. Next, lot acreage. We're going to add that to our criteria. Lot acreage. We're going to choose from 4.5 to 5 acres. We're going to add it to our criteria list. There it is. And finally, because all this property that we chose is just land use, it could contain structures on it, houses, all kinds of stuff, and real estate in general. And you can check this out in the Cash Flow from Land program. Real estate gets assessed by the assessor so that the treasurer can tax it at a rational value. Well, how do you do that? A vacant piece of land is worth less in general, or at least according to the assessor and the treasurer, than a piece of property that has a structure on it, like a house. Vacant piece of property next to a house, the house is going to be assessed at more, the taxes are more. We want to take, and there's two types of assessments that go on. Improvement assessment, which is vertical structure. And I'm oversimplifying because sometimes you can improve a piece of property by just putting a street to it or putting a pad on it or something like that. But let's just say the improvements for now are structures. And so there's an improvement value and a land value. And together, those are the total assessed value. We want to remove anything in the database that has an improvement value. We just want to buy land on this particular mailer. So let's do that. The way you do that is this. You go to improvement percentage, the category, and type 0 to 0. Let's do it. 0 to 0. Add it to the list. Lot acreage 4.5 to 5, improvement percentage 0 to 0, and here's my land uses. Let's submit the request. 23,372 records. So please note, oh look, my gosh, I said it in here again. The process varies widely from county to county. And here's a special note. RealQuest taps out at 25,000 records. If you get to this point and this says 25000, it means that there's actually more records. It capped it. It said that's too many records for the database to manage. So you need to go back and make sure your data set, because you're going to miss potential acquisition candidates if it says 25,000 based on your SERC criteria. So you got to take some stuff out or make the acreage smaller. And I hope this makes common sense to you. Just trust me, make it less than 25,000 by adjusting your acquisition criteria. For your convenience, I put the slides in here so you don't have to constantly refer back to the video when you're doing your first mailer. This is step 1. Custom, select your geographic identifier. Here's your selection criteria, lot acreage improvement, and then a land usage. In this case, there's only one in here, but you could, if you remember just from the video, there's a lot. For this mailer example, we did a lot more. We are at this slide right now. Export data. We're all good, and we're less than 25,000. Check, check, check. I'm going to hit continue. And I'm going to uncheck printing labels. Since I've been doing this since the 90s with RealQuest in the early 2000s, they have been offering this, even back then it was antiquated, label printing business where you can print your labels out, stick them on it's everything we say not to do. So you don't want any part of this label printing. Again, I put a slide in here that this is the next slides, and it very clearly says these are good. These are what's included in your RealQuest package that we negotiated with CoreLogic, and we're going to uncheck print labels. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Next. You want this to be completely vacant because you want all the data. Look at all this data we're going to get for 23,000 records. This is the fun part. This is what separates you from every single other real estate investor out there. This isn't driving for dollars. This isn't knocking on people's doors. This isn't calling a real estate agent and saying, hey, do you have any vacant land out there that's real cheap? I'd like to buy some. This is what separates you from everybody else that's involved in all of this whole industry. And I'm telling you, I've been in this thing for 30 years. The most successful commercial real estate developers and investors don't know how to do this. Here we are, no fields here, all fields here. Looks good, looks good, looks good, looks good, looks good. Next. Again with the labels. Make sure this is unchecked. This has nothing to do with us. And it throws some new people off. Because we're sending out mail and there's labels on it. Nope. Just, we'll get to it. Like I said here, is not checked. Print labels is not checked. Not checked. Next. 23,372 and my file name, which I'm not going to change. Next slide. My file name, my fields. Now, please understand, if you check this accept, this is where you get billed. This is where the data, the price that we charge, it passes to the price that RealQuest charges us, and we bill you. And please also take a look at this. Your file will actually be, it'll be on file for 30 days in your specific RealQuest login username. I'm going to accept it. I'm going to buy data. My data is downloading at 0%. This is the best part for me. Like, this is the moment of truth, because the data, all the assessor data and the ownership data for San Bernardino County and who owns that land is coming my way. And I know from experience, for every 300 letters I send out, I'm going to buy a piece of property that's crazy, crazy, crazy below value because they don't want it anymore. This is the moment of truth for me. And yeah, it's taken a long time to download, but it's worth it. Where else can you get custom data like this? You know, you hear this business about people buying lists on the internet and, oh yeah, you don't need to have fresh data. Come on. You don't need to have fresh data. Let's say you buy an owner of every piece of land in San Bernardino County between 4.5 and 5 acres. What's in there? What's in that data set? I don't know. Everybody owns a piece of land. Oh, you mean the hospital that owns a piece of land? Or the cemeteries that are in San Bernardino County? It's important to pull data from a database and not just buy some list from China. And I'm not selling anything. I've done it all those ways. I've tried all those things. You can't achieve that yield of 1 to 300 when it's priced correctly without doing it this way, or some version of this way from a database, wherever you get it. Doesn't have to be from us or RealQuest. I believe that's the real value in the Land Academy membership, is access to this data. Because if you go in, I mean, you've probably already checked this out because you made it this far by now. If you go to RealQuest and try to get data for this price and this membership fee, it's not going to happen. It's way, way more expensive if you walk in off the street as an individual versus getting it through this group. And then all the other stuff you get, like the calls and all that, I'm not going to, you know what I'm talking about. All that stuff's just kind of a bonus. The file's just staring at us. It's just staring at us, waiting to be clicked on. 50%, 75%, 95%, we're seconds away from scrubbing data. And finally, this is the results. 23,000 record count. And this is the name of the file. In the next section, to go ahead and take a break. In the next section, we're going to take a look at the raw data and scrub it right down. Scrub all the stuff that doesn't make sense in this data set. Scrub it down and get it ready for offers to owners. Join me. Let's download the data. upper and lower, a CSV file, absolutely include the field names in the header row, address formatting for mailing, label preference, just don't care. In fact, this is all silly. This is what you want. These two items. Download, export data. Here's the file. I'm going to store it on my desktop here. Here it is. And we'll let it run. So it's done downloading. Let's open the file. And here it is, that big, beautiful, raw data file that's ready for you to manipulate it and get it ready to get sent in the mail. Fortunately for you, we have a template spreadsheet for you to fill in all the variables and get the sucker in the mail. I'll show you exactly how to do it. Let's take a look. Now we have a raw property data file from the county assessor. At this point, we need to remove the properties or the line items that don't fit our acquisition criteria. This is a fancy long way of saying scrubbing the data. Please remember, data is cheap. It's very, very inexpensive. It's what, 10 cents, I believe, 10 to 12 cents versus the mail, which is 55 cents. So you want to, I'm very, very liberal about downloading data because I don't want to miss anything. And I'm very conservative about what goes in the mail because I don't want to send anybody something that they're just going to throw away and not consider, or I don't want to send it to the wrong person. So let's take a look at that in great detail. Not the wrong person. What I mean is I don't want to send it to somebody where it just doesn't matter. I don't want to send it to the city of city of Scottsdale, or I don't want to send it to the city of San Bernardino. They don't care if I want to buy their property. It just doesn't make sense to waste 55 cents or 60 cents on that. Data's cheap. Postage is expensive. The first thing we'll do is sort for unmailable addresses and remove those lines. I'm going to lock my spreadsheet so I can use it so it's easy. Freeze the panes is what I really mean. I'm going to insert a control number so in case I get lost and I have to go to the next space, I do. Let's highlight these so we can see them. And let's find that address field we're talking about, mailing address. Let's sort for R. And what we're trying to smoke out here are international zip codes or incorrectly input zip codes or places that just don't make sense. Like in this line right here, you can see it immediately. There's just no zip code, no address at all. Column R in this case. We'll smoke that out, and I'll tell you right now from experience it has to do with the ending of the zip codes. Watch. I'm selecting all the data. We are going to go back and sort for R, selecting all of it. Rome, Italy, Norway, the Philippines, on and on and on, Germany, Belgium. Oh, that's not so bad. Let's delete all those rows. Just delete them. Now I'm going to go to the end and see what's down there. Doesn't look too bad. Oh, here's a bunch of empty ones that are just, they're not there. And you know what it is? Surprise. School district. These are the owners. United States, government land, and on and on and on. It's pretty substantial in this case. It may seem wasteful from a data standpoint, but you just save tons and tons of money in mail. and aggravation. They actually did a favor. Did you a favor. In the old days, I'd have to go in here and scrub this myself and find it, because you could buy data from the actual, right directly from the assessor, and it was just a scrubby mess. This would take weeks instead of just a couple hours. So let's stay on task here and go down to the end. Southern Pacific, and here's the end. We're going to edit, delete, row, bang. Sort for unmailable addresses and remove those lines. Done. I'm going to save my file. I'm going to save it as an Excel file instead of a CSV on my desktop. What's the next step? Sort for the total value and remove the top and bottom few values that look like they're input errors, or they just don't look like they belong. They don't pass your test of reason. You'll see what I mean in a second. Remember, these are between 4.5 acres and 5. So let's see what doesn't kind of fit in with the rest from an assessed value. First, we find assessed value. Edit FASS ESS, assessed year. Primary assessment is tax. All right, good. I'm glad that happened. Value. Land value. HD. We're going to sort for HD, land value. I'm going to highlight this just for a second to make a point. And here's land value. Now, $70 land value, that makes sense to me. A $4 million land value with some improvements on it. You can tell by the improvement value. What else has an improvement on it? Nothing. Wow, this is a good scrub. Usually a lot of it comes up. I am looking for rural vacant land. It's very inexpensive. I'm going to exclude anything that has a huge, huge value like this in it, a huge land value in it. By the way, this is a fantastic thing that there's no improvement value in here at all. It means the scrubbed work. There's no improvement set percentage. It's a good scrub. I'm arbitrarily choosing to not send anything over a $99,000 value. Right there. By the way, we're down to 17,000 records, and we started with 23,000. Could you send these? Yeah, there's lots of people in our group that do, and they just see what happens. I'm choosing not to do that. I like to lop off the super top. And if there's a real low end, and in this case there wasn't, there was one $70 value, which I'm going to leave in. But I'm choosing to lop off the super top end because I just don't feel like I want to spend 50 cents to send somebody what'll end up being probably a $1,000 offer, $5,000 offer, some number like that. Send an offer to them because it's generally not going to make sense for me and everything I know about San Bernardino County. I will tell you, there are many, many, many members, many super successful members that don't pay attention to this step, but I am. We're going to take out these high-end values. Now notice we are on line 1727 here. There's all these other ones, these properties that don't have a value at all between 1727 and 18,029. You have to make a choice. There's no land value in these properties filled in this scrub. You have to make a choice if you want to send them mail. I choose yes. I don't have any idea why it's not populated in there, but I'm going to send it anyway. The more rural the county, the more anomalies and exceptions that you'll find like this. That takes care of sort for value in top and bottom. We're going to move on to sorting for the owner's name, and we're going to actually essentially look for duplicates. So remove enter. We're going to first look for strange names like municipalities and things like that, hospitals, large duplicate owners if applicable, and then it's just in general anything that's just not making sense. So let's take a look at this scrub. By the way, this is like kind of unrehearsed, so people want to know how I do these scrubs. So yeah, this is taking a long time. This is how I do it. It takes a long time. Let's sort for, let's go to the top again and sort for name. And by name, I mean owner name. So Mark Helwig and Rosemary E. Helwig, they're going to get a letter for sure. And so I'm going to sort for Y. $18,000 records, not 20, not 17. And now you'll see the owners. So you can see something's wrong with this columnized data set here. See, this doesn't make sense. I'm just going to delete it. Edit delete row. Bam. This is some LLC named this, 12 Higgins B. This is fine. 204, somebody's LLC. These are all good. All very, very positive. A's. They're all names. Abraham Singman. These are all people, individuals who own real estate. They're very ripe to sign your offer and set it back. Oh, look. Here's a Switzerland thing that we missed. Out. This is real life scrubbing data. It goes just like this for me. Exactly. Actually, I bang through it a lot faster, but I'm intentionally slowing this down so you can see the process. United Kingdom. This keeps happening. I am going to sort for male state. And in fact, let's just do it anyway. Let's sort for S and get all of these strange things that are off kilter out. We're going to sort for S. Let's go back to the top. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. APO and FPO addresses, take them out. Alaska. Australia, let's take it out. Glad we did this. Paging down, looking for strangeness. Arizona, lots of Arizona. Belgium. California, of course, that's the state that the property's in. Paging down, looking for the end of CA. Lots of California property. Canada, out. Chile, out. Colorado. Denmark, Egypt, Emirates, out. DC, okay. Connecticut, no problem. Florida. France. Sorry, France. Germany. Guam. You can choose to send it or not. I'm taking it out. Guam is a U.S. territory, whole different postage code situation. It's really going to slow you down on what you're trying to accomplish. Hungary. I don't know. Iowa, Idaho, Illinois. You'll notice where the breaks are in the states. So it goes IN and then weird, KS. Kuwait. KS, KY, in between is Kuwait. Massachusetts, St. Martin, out. Love the Mexico. Can't send the mail there effectively. New Mexico, Nevada. New York. Ohio, Oregon. Peru, Philippines, Pennsylvania, and Puerto Rico. Same situation as Guam. Rhode Island, South Dakota, Spain, to Thailand. Wow, this is easier than I thought. Turkey, Tennessee, Turkey, Texas. Utah, Virginia, Washington State. Getting close, getting close. Wisconsin, Wyoming. And it finishes nice. Got that out of the way, so let's resort for Y again and get back on track. How much money did you just save in mail? I'm going to take a second and save this file. I'm going to rename it, the original file, draft 1. Because I started making a lot of changes. Let's say the computer blows up or something. You want to be able to go to the last step without having to go through the very beginning. Went through all this. These look good. I love these 29 palms. These are all LLC numbers that start with numbers that got sorted to the top. Trusts and stuff. Love sending to trusts and LLCs. It's great. Company names, individual names. I'm scrolling down. Just checking for basic stuff. Okay, here we go. ANA Properties LLC. Do you want to spend 50 cents sending an individual letter to this person on all these bajillions of properties? That's your choice. Sometimes I do. More often, for rural vacant land, I do not. For info lots, I do. For a lot of reasons, but that's a topic for Land Academy 2.0. For rural vacant land, I scrub it out. Because if they're going to sell, they're going to get one letter and they're going to say, you know what, this works. And when you call them or you talk to them, you heard on the show a million times. They're going to say, hey, by the way, I have 25 more properties or 5,000 more properties or whatever it ends up being. So for purposes of this, let's remove all of these properties except the first one. Scrolling down into the B's. Still deleting. Removing duplicates, not being super careful. You can be super careful if you'd like. Probably missing a few. There's also an Excel function to remove duplicates. I'm going through this because you need to see this conceptually. There are people in our group that have mastered this, okay? And quite honestly, I can do this a lot faster if I'm not filming it and teaching it. But I want you to see the concepts, and I want to kind of just drive it home and go through it. So you can skip to the end of this, but I am going to go through here. It's going to obviously take a while. We're on the B's. We'll get to the Z's as fast as I can. But know that some people just have to get every single duplicate out, and some people like to leave every single one of them in and just make sure they get it there. It's your choice. I'm intentionally not intentionally, I'm missing a few in the interest of time. Big Bear Community Services DIS, this is a wastewater. Parks and Rec. Water Agency. You can also keyword search this stuff like INT, which we'll do in a second. Trusts are great. Here's dupe. Here's dupe. Duplicate. Railway. There and throw your letter away. Railway. Just Brown. Isn't that interesting? Someone's going to letter address to Brown. Amazing. There's lots of just duplicates just for one in here. I'm not, in the interest of time, I'm not ultra scrubbing them. Lots of Burtons. Barbara Burton, we don't know. Michael Burton. Wow, Michael Burton. You get the idea. So I'm going to speed ahead. And here we go, down at the Y's and the Z's. American Service Corp sounds strangely like a conservancy or a company like that. So here we are at the end. Did I miss some? Yep. You understand the point. I'm going to go back to the top. I'm going to look for water. I'm going to keyword search water in this column. Sorry, water, ATR. Water Authority, out. Edit, find, next. Water Basin, out. Right next to it, Unified School District, Unified Chino Valley, out. Still looking for water, still looking for water. Water Associate, Cool Water Associates is a real company. Water District. There's lots of things like that you can search for. So Water District is one. You can search for township. You can search for municipality. You can search for railroad. You can search for hospital. There's an infinite list of people who probably should not receive a letter from you. In fact, I know they shouldn't. And you can really cut down on your mail. Dramatically cut down on your mail expense by going through this process. So build a list. I'll tell you right now, any municipality, any huge corporation, railroads, all of that stuff, they don't, in Cash Flow from Land program, I go through this probably in a more, it's been so long, a more thorough type way, but you need to get those however you see fit. You need to get anyone in this list who logically is not going to respond to an offer and sign it like a mom and pop would. What you're looking for is a wife or a husband who opens the mail and says, "Hey, remember that property you own in San Bernardino that we inherited from your father 10 years ago? Are you still paying taxes on that?" "Yeah, well, I just got an offer. They're going to sell for $1,000. Why don't you just get rid of this thing?" That's not going to happen in a water district. It's not going to happen in a railroad company. It's going to get in piles of mail that come in every day, and it's getting lost, chances are. So you want the high percentage low-hanging fruit to respond to this thing positively. In the next section, we'll get it all set up so that we get it ready to get sent to offers to owners and put it in the right format from a data standpoint. I'll show you. We'd make it easy. I'll show you. Hey, guess what? Your data's scrubbed. You scrubbed your first data set. That's it. It's just logical and testing for reason. What we're going to do now is put it in a format that is provided by offers to owners, the actual mail merge format. It's the one that I use every single time we send a mailer out, and get it ready to be submitted to offers to owners. But prior to that, we will do the all-important exercise of pricing a mailer correctly. Just to recap, we sorted first for unmailable addresses. We sort top and bottom values. We removed all the unlikely owners, which includes state and municipalities, large companies, railroads and stuff. Duplicate owners, we went through that. And at the bitter end, you would go, if this is your first mailer, you would go and really dig in deeper and spend probably maybe a day removing the stuff that just doesn't make sense to you. Remember the exercise at the end where check keyword search for certain things and really, really, really scrub that data down so that's logical. So bear in mind, like I just said, this is subjective. It takes a lot of practice. Please use landinvestors.com. If you're stuck anywhere or you have any questions, I've said this 50 times probably. There's tons of people in landinvestors.com that were exactly where you are 2 months ago or 4 months ago or 6 months ago. And in some cases a year ago, and they've quit their jobs and they made it work and they moved on. So don't let this, if this is just, you're struggling with this part, you're not alone. Not alone at all. I struggled with this for a year before I got it right. So don't let it stop you. Really reach out and make sure that your first mailer or your second mailer or your third mailer, you start getting some properties back and it's priced right and you do it right. Otherwise, it's going to turn you off from the whole thing because you will get past this. If you got this far, you're going to get past it. I'm going to read along those lines a note that we received from a guy named Jason Barker, who's now, who was discouraged in the beginning and he's really doing well now. In late 18. Jill and Steve, good morning. Steve told me we'll probably never hear from you again. So I say this to people on calls because it's not a negative thing. It's actually a really positive thing. Very often I talk to people in consulting calls and I hear how bright they are and how they're approaching this. And I say, this is great because it's going to happen to you too. You're incredibly good at this, and you all have all these concerns, and we're doing a consulting call now, but 6 months from now, I'm never going to hear from you again because you got it all figured out and you're on your way. He goes on to say, so I committed to him at the time that I would get back to y'all and let you know my progress. It's been a while, only because I wanted to have tangible results to report. For context on the guy that sent you the Captain Obvious t-shirts a year ago, people send us all kinds of stuff after they were successful, like sent Jill chocolate constantly and gift baskets. This guy, Jason, sent us custom t-shirts. Here's a quick update. I signed up in January 17, and I'm the guy this system did not work for. I failed miserably. In 2017, I sent several thousand letters and even did several consulting calls with Steve to make sure I was pricing correctly. On most mailer campaigns, I got 0 signed offers back. After expenses in 2015, I did a total of 2 deals, both profitable, yet still lost about $10,000. Bear in mind, this is not the typical results. This guy just got a little sidetracked. The typical results are a lot better, but I wanted to throw this in for reality measure here and for motivation. But I kept at it because I felt like there was something to this, and I just needed to figure it out. I sent one more mailer in the fall of 2017 that resulted in some decent response, and I bought and sold in December 17th, my second property, and this is a breakthrough. Now I've finally completed my first 10 deals. That is slow for 18 months, but I'm breaking a lot of rules. I'm also doing larger deals, so they're not going to turn as fast. I completely skipped the $500 desert phase that we talk about in the cash flow from land program, and I would encourage you to do the same thing. We talk a lot about buying ultra cheap property, and while that is great to practice on, you're not going to retire anytime soon, and that's why we released the 2.0 version. We'll talk about that later. First 10 deals, $375,000 in sales, $187,000 in gross profit. Current balance sheet's about $250,000, $150,000 in cash, $140,000 in 2 properties that are currently for sale. I also have a pipeline of acquisitions signed and ready to go. The goal is to quit my job on September 5th, 2018, which I know happened. We're recording this after that date. At that time, the plan is to have a balance sheet that includes $1 million of inventory, $100,000 of cash in my personal checking account to live on. And most importantly, the knowledge, skill, and confidence that if everything were taken away from me tomorrow and I had to start over, I could crank it all back up and know that I still could be independent and financially very successful. All of these are realistic and doable, these goals. And all of these are directly contributed to the two of you. And for what I am sincerely, and for that I'm sincerely and forever grateful. If there's anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to ask. And he goes on to say some cool, happy stuff, happy, sappy stuff. And thanks very much for all you do. What's my point to including this? this is the bottleneck that we talk about what we've learned since 2015 in our members. This is the bottleneck where people, they may make a mistake. They may not understand the mail merge contract. Don't give up here. You've gotten this far. If you've gotten this far and you can manage the stuff in your personal stuff in your life, you can make it past this. I mean it. So Jason is a perfect example of just sticking to it and getting through it. Okay, let's get the data ready for offers to owners. Let's go to offers to owners and download the templates we need to complete the mail merge. Resources, download forms, templates and mailer examples. We're going to download two while we're here. The land data template. And we'll download it here. Put it on a desktop again. And while we're here, we'll grab the other form that we need. The Word template. And download here. Desktop. We got it. Okay. Here we are with a very, very simple example guideline that you will use for your mail merge. And you'll notice that if I go to my raw data file that we've been working on, this whole chapter, and I look at old APN, this column is not populated, and then I look at my data, you'll see old APN. Let's make a different color so you can really understand it. Blue and blue. All the data, all of this data needs to be copied and pasted into here. It'll all line up, watch. I will take old APN and copy it all. Here we are at the bottom, and we'll copy it all the way over. Edit, edit, copy, line it up right here, and paste. Lots of data, so it's taking a second. And let's just check to see if some of these columns line up. Mail state, mail state. Situs address, situs address. College district, yes. Are we going to use any of this data? No, not really. You know what we're going to use? The stuff that's in green. Data can be your best friend, or it can just whoop your butt if you let it. We have spent years and years and decades, actually, Jill and I, making this easy for you. So you simply go to O2O, offersowners.com, download this thing, do exactly what I just did in this video, and it's all going to line up. Let's go to the front again. So now that we know we have good data, we're going to fill in the yellow columns with your stuff. If your name is Sally Smith, let's put in Sally Smith here. What's your title? How about founder? What's your website? xyz.com. How about landxyz.com? Maybe your name is your address is 123 Main Street in Scottsdale. How about 123 Easy Street, Carefree, Arizona? That's a real place. It's an office building. It's real. Your phone number? Remember in chapter 1 or chapter 2, I don't remember, we said you got to get all this stuff straight before you do a mailer. Like you need your address and you need well, here's why. We're about to send out 17,000 letters, offers. Do you want to send that to an apartment address that you have that you know you're going to move out of in a year from now? Or do you want to send it to your cell phone? 17,000 potential phone calls called back. Are 17,000 people going to call you back? No. But you understand my point, I hope. Your email address, you are Sally at landxyz.com. What's the date? The date is 2009. What's the reference number? I don't know. Let's make one up. Let's start with this mailer up with 65591. Or let's just make up a number. Offer price. Come back to that because we don't know. And this date. See how this date is 2 months from this date? Almost 3 months? Let's do that. Let's add 30 days to this. Because that's a date that you're going to give them in the offer, and you'll see in a minute. You got to give them a date where they believe the offer is no longer valid. You don't want to just say, hey, we're going to offer you X for your product, and think about it. Let me know. You want to give them an end date. It's kind of a call to action. So 3 months is usually good. In this case, a little bit shy of 3 months, but that's okay. Now let's copy all of this information down to the bottom. This is the bottom. I'm just marking this as the bottom so that when it finds the bottom, it knows where it goes, because this is all the stuff that's going to go in the mail merge all the way down. Now you have a mail merge that's 100% ready to go, with the exception of price. In the next section, we'll get it priced correctly. Thanks. Now to recap, we logged into Offers to Owners. We collected the 2 forms and the 2 mail merge documents. One was the XLS merge document, and one was the DOC doc, which we haven't gotten to yet because we're still about to do pricing, but I just want to catch up here on the slides. If you have any problems with any of this, about this mail merge process, contact Offers to Owners. We started that company from scratch. I personally started it and launched it because this was a bottleneck for a lot of people. The people that work at Offers to Owners full time will happily help you. I'm not bragging here, but every month we send out a couple 100,000 offers. So we're here to help you. And we copied the raw data from RealQuest, and we did all the stuff except pricing. So let's talk about this all important pricing. Let's go back to your equity planner. Now, if you remember, we downloaded 4.5 acres to 5 acres in San Bernardino County. We didn't download 2 acres or 1 acre or 10 or 20 or 40 acres or anything like that. I chose to make this very narrow because it's the first example of pricing. So we're going to fill out this number. Well, how do we get a gauge for what the retail price per acre is? We go out on the internet and see what properties are listed for. Here's the properties on landwatch.com. I sorted for United States, California, San Bernardino County. I don't know why this is there. San Bernardino County. Let's make sure we do this right. Narrow by county. I don't know why it's doing that. Anyway. Oh, that's because it's a region. And I chose 4.5 to 5.5 acres just to check. Now let's just do a number count. How many properties are we going to find? This many. Well, sorry, this many. Doesn't give us a total, but that's not a ton. And I sorted from low to high. And you're going to always find auction property. No prices yet. No price. Oh, first one, $4,000. Second one, $4,000, $5,000 almost. In El Mirage. That's the rock bottom wholesale/retail environment. Okay, so 5 acres retail, rock bottom is $4,000. Let's get going. And we go on and on and on. San Bernardino is a big county. There's huge cities that in San Bernardino. So there's a very sophisticated methodology in pricing when it comes to just getting these little micro block by block pricing. And our super advanced members all get into that. That's not what 1.0 is all about. This is about you getting mail out there and getting some offers back and getting some experience. And then moving on to higher pricing property. 7, 8,000, 8,000, 8,000, 9,000. And it goes up. And there's it goes way up. Don't let that scare you, because what we're looking for is unwanted property that we're going to sell for more. Great. So we've established a bottom of, I would say, $5 acres for $6,500, I think, is a real safe number here. The bottom's at 4. There's a lot of property that it's a lot more. No, this is not incredibly sophisticated, but this is how rural vacant land is priced with some degree of success. That's 5 acres, so we just looked up 6,500, 5 acres, $1,300 per acre is a good number. So we need to buy properties for around. If I found out it was 800, it'd be like that. But it said 1,300. Let's just say 50. So $2,300 is a good acquisition price. Per acre, excuse me. And here's why. Revenue calculation is $1,350 times 5 acres for the actual parcel deal. Is retail 7,650, which is pretty close to this, right? It's the same. Actually, if you calculate it this way, it's the same. So we're going to buy for 35% of this value that we've expected for 5 acres. We're going to sell it. We're double our money, sell it for about $4,500. We want to be at the lowest end of the market, just like this person was. Right around. You want to be in this area. And if you send enough mail out, in this case, we're sending 17,000 letters out. Believe me, some people are going to sign it or call you, or you will come up with some deals. let's do it. Let's get a second opinion on this pricing thing. Let's go over to land and farm and see if it's consistent. Maybe we want to change it. I don't know. We don't want to just go off of LandWatch. Same situation. San Bernardino County, 45 acres. They only let me do on this. They have to. They're round numbers. We can choose our land type. I'm just going to choose to leave it all in there. Has a house? No. Irrigated? Doesn't matter. Any. And search. I'm going to sort by price, lowest. 7,000. 6,000. 666, a little bit more, a little higher. How many properties are here, by the way? 152, not bad. That's not a lot for the whole county of San Bernardino on this size. And it keeps going up from 7 to 8 to 9, 10, and on and on. It goes up. You get up in the mountains and the trees, it's 100,000. That doesn't even matter. That's not the kind of property that we have or that we want to buy. These are infill lots. They're not even actual rural vacant land, so it doesn't apply. So good. It passes all my tests. At the top end, they're 20,000. At the bottom end, they're 4. Does that make me want to change this a little bit? Yeah, it kind of does. Maybe that's a little closer. Maybe my offer price should be a little closer to $2,600 in that area. I'm going to sell it for 5 because I think the average is 75. So let's stick with that. Now we basically have a price per acre for our mailer. The price per acre is, the offer price is this number. Your purchase price, your sale price, retail value. So you're always coming in under retail in price per acre. Price per acre is $525 or so we're estimating. You know, in Land Academy 2.0 infill lots, this is a lot more scientific. But because there are so many variables to conquer with rural vacant land, and believe me, a vast majority of the people who complete this do it very well. So yes, there's a little bit of a finesse artistic point to it. And if there was an easy button and an algorithm, I would certainly share it with you. But it takes practice and a little bit of confidence. So let's complete our mailer at $525 per acre. For that, we go back to the raw, or the data file, the mail merge data file that we're going to send to O2O. And here we are in our, let's solve for offer price data file that will be sent to the mail merge. We're solving for M here. We want an offer price to put in the mailer that makes people want to sign it. We're going to do a simple calculation. We realized, obviously, we believe $525 works for a price per acre calculation. So let's just do this. There's a million ways to do this. I'm going to put a little 525 up here. And I'm going to copy this right here. And we're going to look for acre. It's dB. We're going to copy or calculate dB, cell dB22, and multiply it by our price per acre times dB22. 26.25. If this person receives an offer for $26.25, does this make sense with this whole thing? Well, yeah. It's a reasonable offer. Excellent. Let's format this column so it makes sense to us. Let's copy that. Let's anchor 525 up there and copy it down. They're slightly different. That's good. Let's make it even a little more interesting and do an equation where they don't get, every single person who owns a 5-acre property doesn't get it exactly like this. Exactly like 2625, 2625. These are slightly different acreage properties. Let's throw something in here. You don't need to do this, but I'm going to tell you, you get a better response. See the effect that this has on the price? It makes it a strange number. 26 instead of just 26.25, it's 26.27.63. Same thing here. Oh, now they're all strange. They're strange numbers. Very, very strange numbers. And that's copied all the way down. Your mail is priced. You're ready to send it to a mail merge. I'm going to copy all of these and paste them on each other. So it's a real number. Now's the time to open up the Microsoft Word file that we downloaded on Offers to Owners. And here we are in that file. We are going to quite simply connect this offer file to every single line of data so that every single person in this list that we've scrubbed gets an offer from us. It's now 13,000 records from our original 17. I don't remember. 23. It was a lot large. Go to mailings, start a mail merge, a letter, select recipients, use an existing one. We'll choose the file that we created, and we're going to connect them. It's thinking or connecting. Mailings. Preview the results. First and last name. This all looks good. Here's all my information. You can format this however you'd like. It happens to be defaulted like that. That's fine. Legal description. APN. There's a lot of different ways you can customize this. This is the basic way. I don't recommend we do it. It's the most effective way to get purchase agreements coming back. Let's continue to review and make sure it actually looks okay. You can see this all changing. This right here. You can see the offer price is okay. Based on the side of the property, the offer number is changing. So this person believes that they're the only person who received an offer from you. That's what it looks like. There's some formatting changes you could make, and there's some other things you can do. If you really want to get into this and take it seriously, or again, you can call Offers to Owners. Those guys will help you do it for you. The two documents are connected. The Microsoft Word document is connected to the Microsoft Excel document. At this point, you should send these two documents to offers to owners according to the instructions that are on that sheet. They will take it from there. There's all kinds of stuff that has to go on for it to fit into the envelope and all that. They handle all of that for you. And we process whatever, like I said earlier, 200,000, at least 200. That's at the time of this, it keeps going up. 200,000 letters a month. Update the price column, way ahead of you there, in round numbers. That actually wraps this chapter up. In the cash flow from land program, in which I really encourage you to go back and watch the chapter. It's the chapter 5 is the one that is the one that I did that addresses this. We didn't have offers to owners. We didn't have subscription with RealQuest. What I was basically talking about theory about how to price and things like that. So I hope this really makes it clear. Again, if you have any questions, I went over a very cursory overview on pricing. Imagine if you sent out mail in San Bernardino County for 4.5 to 5 acres like we did, 0.25 to 1.25 acres. You would fill in that 1 acre column right here. If you sent out properties in a 10 acre range and you figured out that they were $900, then that would calculate how you would send out that price range. If you calculated here, it's 800. Then you would do it this way, and on and on and on. So I hope that's clear. If anything's unclear, check at landinvestors.com and ask a lot of questions there. Everybody would be more than happy to help you. And make sure you listen to our weekly calls because we address pricing constantly. You're very welcome. I do the calls myself. You're very welcome to ask any questions that you'd like there. Up next, managing the flow of accepted offers. Thanks.